Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Craig Carton Show. I am Tyrone Johnson in for Craig. He will be back tomorrow. We have a lot to get to in this next hour. We can't waste any time. We do appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in each and every day here on SportsGrid. Of course, everybody on YouTube and the podcast as well. But we have to start in the place that the most people are talking about right now, despite everything that's going on. The person that's getting talked about the most is still, once again, LeBron James, as the Thunder sweep the Lakers yesterday, and now they're 8-0 in the postseason. But after the game, everybody's wondering, will this be the time where LeBron James announces his retirement? What's next with LeBron? And think about this now. 41 years of age. He's been famous since he's about 16 years old. There's grown adults. We have interns that do not remember a world in which LeBron James was not famous. Literally, like does not have it in their memory bank, a world before LeBron. And despite the NFL schedule and everything happening in sports, that great game between Detroit and Cleveland, the crazy ending and everything going on, the Knicks, the number one sports story remains LeBron James. Let's get right to it before we move further into this situation. This is what LeBron said after the Lakers were eliminated last night by the hands of the Thunder.
Well, I think you guys asked me about it, and I've answered questions. Yeah, I don't think I've come out like, oh, retirement is coming. I mean, what my future, I don't know, obviously. I mean, obviously we're still fresh from, obviously losing, and I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the future holds for me, obviously, as it stands right now tonight. I got a lot of time. I'll sit back, like I think I said it last year after we lost, I think, to Minnesota, to go back and recalibrate with my family and talk with them and spend some time with them. And then when the time comes, obviously, you guys will know what I decide to do.
Exactly. Now, the reason I played that whole clip right there is I find it very fascinating because somehow when we talk about the GOAT and we talk about LeBron, and unfortunately, every time LeBron James comes up, like how many times have you seen online, oh, look, they made history. LeBron and Bronny got swept. That's history. Like, you've seen that joke already 100 times. Why? Because at the end of the day, we just have to say it once again. As he just finishes a playoff run in which they make the second round of the playoffs with Luka playing 0 games in the playoffs, and we notice how we're not talking about Luka at all. Like, you would think that Luka wasn't even on the team with the limited amount that we've talked about Luka Doncic in this postseason, as if he doesn't even exist. Why? Because it's LeBron James' world. And LeBron James, I'm going to say it again, it needs to be said, is the GOAT, and just because you don't like him doesn't make him less GOAty, okay? He's the greatest of all time because he's the greatest of all time, and you guys, the fact that some people were mad about that statement shows you that he's the GOAT. People are like, how dare LeBron not tell us what he's about to do? Of course LeBron's going to get the retirement tour that every other player, including Michael Jordan, got. Oh, how dare it, Derek Jeter and everybody else. You notice that, the double, the triple, the quadruple standard of LeBron James, and the fact that, again, the biggest story in the NBA right now, despite the Knicks, they just shot 97% from 3 against the Sixers in the playoff series. I swear they never missed. Everything that's going on, yet all the talk is about LeBron. Why? Because he's the GOAT. He's better than Jordan. He's better than everyone else. And just because some of you don't like him doesn't make him any less GOAT worthy. But I recognize it. Tyrone, you're crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. I can't stand LeBron. 6 rings, da-da-da-da-da. Well, this is why, okay, on this show, I never only use my opinion. You know that, even when I'm sitting with Craig. The opinion is just one small part of the situation. Let's use data. Okay, I think data is important. And right now, in the next minute or so, I'm going to put this hopefully to bed to where we never have to talk about it again. We can put LeBron as the GOAT, and then we can move on with our lives and figure, does a SGA, does a Wemby, does another player that's in high school right now, is he going to one day grow up and surpass LeBron in about 25 to 30 years and put up these kind of numbers? But LeBron James did just finish his age 41 season. So let's take a look at it, everybody. Let's look at some of the all-time people in NBA history. Compare them at age 41. Compare LeBron James at 41, who made the second round of the playoffs and was the best player on his team. Let's start with the greatest winner in NBA history, Bill Russell. If you don't mind, can you put on the screen, there you go. So Bill Russell, when he was LeBron's age, here are Bill Russell's numbers. He averaged 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 0 assists. Now, we'll get to what LeBron did, but hey, if he's not the GOAT, and some of you don't think so, I'm sure Russell's numbers will be better. All right, some people say, well, it's not Russell. He had the best team. It was Kareem. Kareem has 6 titles. Kareem has a bunch of MVPs. Let's look at Kareem's great numbers. If you look at the screen right there, you'll see 11 points, little piddly amount of rebounds, piddly amount of assists, but hey, those are some stats, and that's many of you guys of a certain generation, that's your GOAT. That's your person. Let's go with Magic Johnson. I mean, he has 5 rings, multiple MVPs. Oh, look, again, Magic, 0 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. That's a guy who's in the mix to be the GOAT? Huh. Well, all right. I know a lot of you saying there's only but one GOAT. I know Craig would say that. I know Ethan downstairs would say that. And later on in the show, I'll get into why Ethan is one of the main problems amongst sports fans that has single-handedly ruined the NBA. But that'll be later in the show. Let's get to your GOAT, Michael Jordan. Let's look at his stats at 41. All right. 0. Oh, okay. Now, while he was racking it up at the casino, as you can say, and I don't know if he went to many slot machines, but you got to figure he did after he went back for the poker table. There's no way he was going back to his room. And I just want to say for the record real fast, could you imagine a world in which down 3-2 in a series, LeBron James left New York, went to Atlantic City, gambled all night, and came back? Could you imagine that actually happening? Yeah. But for me to, again, data, most important thing, let's get to LeBron James's numbers when he was 41. Oh, look at that. Almost 21 points, over 6 rebounds, over 7 assists. The data's all right there. Now, I want this to all be put to bed right now. LeBron James has just proven once again to be the greatest basketball player to ever take a breath of life. Period. Jordan, 0 points. You see it. It just is what it is. And you liking him or not liking him doesn't make a difference. Most of the time, when someone says something nice about LeBron James, you look at the comments, it's no one disputing the basketball. They're disputing the character. I don't like him. I don't like that he's been with the same woman since high school, has 3 kids, and just never been in trouble. That makes him a bad guy. Like, it doesn't even make sense, the lengths that many of you go to try to do this. To be honest with you, I'm kind of bored with it at this point. I think we need to just all agree. Ethan, Craig Carton, who's not here today, and all of you out there, let's come to an agreement right now after what we just saw from LeBron James so that we can move on and talk about the rest of the sport. I'll tell you right now, we can all do this together. We're all a group. We're together on this. LeBron James is the best player we've ever seen, okay? He does more things on the court. He's done it for longer. He is the best basketball player to ever live, period. And Michael Jordan could have never dreamed. You saw him with the Wizards. Some of you that haven't blocked it out, they didn't even make the postseason. LeBron just won a round. And the fact that OKC is now 8-0 in the postseason looks like a super dominant team. And we'll hear about them again later in the show as well. And the people are talking about LeBron speaks to it even more. So let's be honest today, okay? Let's put this to bed, and then we can move on. LeBron James is doing things we'll never see again. I know there's people out there that will say, oh, nutrition and other things going forward. There'll be another LeBron James. No, there won't be another LeBron James. He's one of one, and there's no one out there like him. No one's been this good for this long. And wherever he goes next year, we're going to appreciate it. We're going to appreciate it. Because let me tell you, a basketball world without LeBron James, I have to be honest, is a weaker world unless you have another LeBron James to come along to replace him. And I just want to say at the conclusion of another season, thank you, LeBron James, for carrying the sports media landscape once again for about the 25th consecutive year, for being one of the top players, and more importantly, for being the GOAT time and time and time again. That's right. Coming up on the other side, we're going to actually get to Caitlin Clark and her fans.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There is a pick tonight that Gabe has that, to some degree, I find completely outrageous. Then I looked at it a second longer, and it might be a really smart angle.
I like to test them a little bit.
I like
to test them a little bit.
I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah, you don't know? You don't know this team name? You should. You're in the sports business.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? Nobody, but nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. And by the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News reported this morning that's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson. In for Craig. I usually sit over there, sitting over here today. Craig will be back tomorrow, talking about a lot of things today. And I want to get to the WNBA for just a moment. And more importantly, I want to get to Caitlin Clark. Speaking of women's basketball, last week on the podcast and on YouTube, we have Elle Duncan's interview. If you missed that, if you weren't aware that we had the podcast, go right now and you can download and subscribe, as you see right there on the screen. If you're audio listening, obviously you already are a subscriber there. But Elle Duncan, we had an exclusive with her where she talked about a lot of things she's doing for Habitat for Humanity and many things with her career at Netflix now, but also about women's basketball. And she's part of USA's coverage of women's basketball. So make sure you check that out and download the podcast each and every day. But the WNBA season started, and I noticed something that I want to talk to people about, and this could end up being perhaps the greatest fumble in the history of sports. And I'm not exaggerating. This could be the greatest fumble in the history of sports. Caitlin Clark 2 years ago was as big as, obviously, by far, 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times the biggest female basketball player, maybe the biggest female athlete easily since Serena Williams. And now, little by little, you notice this season started, and the buzz about her is way, way, way down. And she may have had a bit of an unforced error just the other day with certain parts of the fan base. But maybe we learn about the real Caitlin Clark, and the question will be, if we learn about the real her, and we didn't learn about the real Michael Jordan until years after he retired, but can we know about the real you and you still be the queen of sports? Caitlin Clark, we know very little about her as a person other than what we hear from like her dad and small interviews. She decided to do this the other day with country star, I can say that, Morgan Wallen, who very controversial. You see Caitlin Clark coming out there showing just tons of personality and swag in that video. But she comes out just showing her personality. And the thing is, with Morgan Wallen, as you can see, Morgan Wallen is very popular, and he has songs that a lot of people like, as you can see right there, walking out. But a lot of people in WNBA world decided that she took a side. And is it smart to take a side? Now, once again, I'll use the Michael Jordan template because O.J. Simpson, pre-murder, Tiger Woods, pre-women and drugs, and Michael Jordan all followed the same template. It was be really great on the floor, and stand for absolutely nothing. All right? It's kind of like Taylor Swift's music. If you listen to a Taylor Swift album, you wouldn't know there was a single person who ever died of starvation, murder, there was no world hunger, there's no war. It's all about her very small, insular world and millions if you like it. But listening to her music, you'd have no idea there's a world outside of Taylor Swift. Well, Michael Jordan, if you look at his commercials, you look at his quotes when he played, you would have no idea there was a world outside of Michael Jordan. He said nothing, never stood for a single thing. And the thought was the reason Caitlin Clark was not standing up for issues that fans of the WNBA care about. So whether I care about it, whether you care about it, and if you're not a big WNBA fan, who cares? She had crossed over. She was so big. The only way to mess it up, perhaps, is two ways. There's only two ways to mess it up. One, not be really great on the floor, and we'll get to that. And the other way to mess it up is by taking a stance that some people don't like. Because, again, O.J. Simpson pre-murder, it went to Michael Jordan, and then it went to Tiger Woods. You notice, Tiger Woods, you see Tiger Woods' skin. He told you he wasn't black. You saw Tiger Woods. Because why take a stand on anything? Just let the money roll in. Well, Morgan Wallen, this is the significant part of it, to start, is, well, he's known for a lot of things, and a lot of people like his music, but for people like me, I have to kind of be sensitive to it because Morgan Wallen says the N-word liberally. Not liberal, but he liberally says the N-word just left and right. He says it more than I do, and I'm black. So as you can tell, I'm not Tiger Woods, I'll admit it. So now she does that. Now all of a sudden, you have fans trying to make a decision. Do we like her? Do we not like her? Was this her taking a stance and saying, I believe in the things that Morgan Wallen believes in, or was this just her, I like her music, I like his music, I was in town, so I walked him out? It could be either one. But because she never says anything, it leaves it open to interpretation. And then you add this part of it. People are realizing that maybe she's not that good at basketball. What if she's not that good at basketball? Like, this photo right here is back when she was in college, but she's now more known for this than making shots. All she does is complain to the referees. And a lot of people claim that's why they don't like LeBron James and they don't like all these other people. This is why Knicks fans vilify Joel Embiid. It's because, all he is a foul merchant. Look at this. This is the most we know about her personality up until the point she decided to roll up with Morgan Wallen. So the question is, for everybody is, and really I'm just going to say it, the Caitlin Clark thing is over. Caitlin Clark thing is over because she's not the best player in the WNBA. She's not the best guard in the WNBA. She's not even the best guard from her college class because that's Paige Beckers, who plays for Dallas, who beat them in the season opener. This could be a situation where we look back on Caitlin Clark, and we're not going to look back on her like she's Michael Jordan. She's Jeremy Lin. This is just Linsanity. She's going to fumble this. She's Jeremy Lin. When we look back on this a year from now, we're going to talk about Caitlin Clark even less. And it's because of two things. Who would have thought? Country music, which can sometimes steer you wrong, and her bitching and moaning to the refs nonstop. But when we look back on this, this girl had the world by the balls. She had everybody loving her. People who hate women's sports, like our producer Ethan, like Craig, were tuning in just for her. Fast forward a year, and this is what we're down to. What we're down to, Ethan made me laugh in my ear. But this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Caitlin Clark. She is in the middle of the biggest money fumble perhaps we've ever seen, and I just cannot believe that we're seeing it happen in real time. Now, again, she can change it. One, she can explain, like, I just like his music. I don't also say the N-word every day like he does. Or she could just go out there and hoop. And at the end of the day, if you can play, and even if we complain about you, we'll watch. Just ask every LeBron fan who hasn't missed a single game of LeBron's, but of course hate his guts. But this fumble, I think, is epic. And when we look at Jeremy Lin and look at her, we're going to find out that at the end of the day, it was the exact same thing, period. And it's probably not good for the sport overall, but I think there's enough women. I respect the sport enough to think they can find another star, market another star, and still go from there. Coming up on the other side, you want to stay tuned because the Dianna Russini thing won't die, and I'm very, very uncomfortable with it. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson. I usually sit over there. Sitting over here today, Craig Carton will be back tomorrow. Now, I mentioned in the end of the last segment, a little tease, as they call it, if you will, about the Dianna Russini and how I'm very uncomfortable with the with this situation because the initial denial by both her and Mike Vrabel has led this story to keep on having legs, and it seems like every day there's a new video, a new picture, or whatever. But I believe in an effort to stop the nonstop story and finally cut it off to where maybe she could take a step away before she decides her next move, decides her interview, how and when she's going to address it. This photo came out of her with her husband and blurred out, thankfully, of her young child, one of her two young children she has with her husband. Now, from this picture, I'm uncomfortable because you see what she was holding hands with the side piece, and then that's her husband with the backwards hat, which I also have a problem with, but that's not what I'm uncomfortable with. I just say backward hat kind of makes you douchey most times. But he's kissing her on the mouth. What are you doing, bro? Like, well, you kiss on her mouth, but I think we're supposed to see this and see, well, if they're fine at home, then everything is fine, okay? I think that's what it is, and I want to believe that. But here's the problem. There's two problems that I'm upset with. Number one is, at the end of the day, it is just their business. And if he's okay with what happened or he's going to stick around, who are we to judge it? And we should mind our own business, and I really do believe that. Another part of me thinks, well, if they're on their own driveway, and clearly they are by their own house, should someone be outside their house taking the picture in the first place? I say no. I say that that's kind of a trash move. I'm uncomfortable with the whole situation. It makes me feel icky just talking about it. So there's stages of this. Number one, the backwards hat, like I said. Number two, he's kissing her on the mouth. You know what went down, bro. Like, what are you doing there? What are you doing? Like, I understand on the cheek for the photo, but that's on the mouth. You just okay that she was doing all. Anyway, and then I feel gross making those kind of jokes because we shouldn't see this picture at all. There's a certain level where this goes too far, and I now have to kind of nastily defend Dianna Russini because at the end of the day, we're not doing this to Mike Vrabel. Now, They saw Vrabel at the airport, and maybe they followed him, but have any of you guys downstairs, producers, et cetera, interns, have we seen any pictures outside of Vrabel's house? And when he went to Salt Lake City, they knew he was going there to their vacation house so he could, talk to his wife during the thing that he called counseling. And there was no pictures outside of that house. So outside of Dianna Russini calling the press, and that does happen, just ask any of the Kardashians, I kind of think it's nasty that we're seeing these pictures in the first place. And now I have to be on Dianna Russini's side for now. We kind of know what happened. We know what happened. And we know that it was a long-term situation. Allegedly, she didn't name the baby after Mike Vrabel, was after her brother. But I just want to ask this question real fast to everybody on earth. If your significant other had a side piece, and even if that side piece happened to have the same name as your brother, would you name the kid after the brother knowing it's the same name as the side piece? Like that part, but other than that, I have to still be on her side because I think we have to leave these people alone. And then from the article, apparently, they're out and about in the town. They've moved on. If their marriage has moved on, then maybe we have to move on. And maybe since she doesn't have a job anymore, we should stop focusing on her altogether and put the blame now where it belongs, and we have to put it on the guy that's still employed, the guy that has to lead 53 grown adults plus coaches to try to win another Super Bowl in Mike Vrabel. And I think it's wrong that we're treating him better than we're treating her. Because again, if I'm going to make those jokes about Dianna Russini, I have to be able to make those jokes about Mike Vrabel as well. She was not alone in this situation. And I just have to be honest, I am uncomfortable, completely uncomfortable with this new set of photos when it comes to Dianna Russini. But I am not as uncomfortable as this one I'm about to show you real fast. I didn't know animals could make this noise. Do we have the horse video? This is even more uncomfortable. I'm more uncomfortable with this than Dianna Russini. Go ahead and play it. This poor horse laying on his side, and that person working on him, and then look at this and listen to this. Oh my God, I feel better just from hearing that video. That horse had to be in hell before whatever that person did, pushing on his stomach like that. That right there is that good kind of feeling. And that's one of those situations where, yeah, it's a little bit gross, but boy, does that feel good. Coming up, NFL schedule, what we have so far. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson in for Craig. He'll be back tomorrow. We're about to get to the NFL schedule, but Dylan Brooks, of all people, real fast, and I'll get right back to the NFL schedule and what we have so far. The entire schedule will be coming out Thursday at 8 o'clock as we start to get the dribs and drabs and leaks. They asked Dylan Brooks about LeBron James, and this is the ultimate pause moment. They asked if LeBron was going to retire. Now, Dylan Brooks hates LeBron James. He goes, I think he got one more in him. Pause. Pause. Got one more in them. Let's look at the NFL schedule and what games we have confirmed so far with other games rumored. So week 1, we have the Australia game where 49ers Rams. So whoever the Seahawks play, manage the advantage the Seahawks have in that division for week 2 when both of those teams have to come back from Australia and play week 2, and they'll be playing a home game, Seattle, against, the rumor is the Patriots, not yet confirmed, but think about that advantage in week 2 in that game. You have the Cowboys at the Giants, Sunday Night Football. That's almost every year. You get the New York market, you get the quote-unquote America's team against one another. It makes a lot of sense. That one I'm okay with so far. You also have the Lions at the Bills. That'll be Thursday Night Football. That's the new building for the Bills, which does look beautiful. I don't know why the taxpayers had to pay billionaires for the building, but it does look like a beautiful stadium, and you'll still get $5 an hour to shovel it out a bunch of times each year. So that game, that should be pretty cool. And then you have this one, I don't know why we have to announce it already with the Cowboys again. You have the Ravens versus the Cowboys. I guess that's technically a Cowboys home game in Brazil. That one, I believe, is in Rio. That one, I know that the Eagles and the Packers played in a different place. This one, I believe, is in Rio. And then they announced the Thanksgiving game, and this game makes a lot of sense. Eagles at Cowboys on Thanksgiving. And for people that maybe don't know, the Lions and the Cowboys forever have the home game on Thanksgiving because they both took the game back when other teams didn't want it. So it's grandfathered in that they get that one at home basically forever, and you have that game. Why are there 3 Cowboys games, though, right away? Why? And miss me with the America's team part. Why are there 3 Cowboys games already announced already? Why? Why? Don't they have to win something for this to happen? Don't they have to, at some point, win something before we keep treating them this way? It gets on my nerves, okay? Because if you've ever met a Cowboys fan, which means if you met a Cowboys fan, you also met a Yankees fan and a Duke fan and a Lakers fan, because they're not homegrown. They don't have any loyalty. Why do we keep having these guys shoved down our throats when they're never good? And then don't tell me, but their offense was really good last year, what they did in the draft. They're never good. When was the last time you believed in the Cowboys? Okay, I recognize the NFL as a business, but am I really to believe with the NFL, they're like, you know what, we'll go broke if we don't put the Cowboys on constantly and announce their schedule before everybody else's. We'll go out of business. Enough is enough. Okay? I don't understand why people have so much vitriol and want to get LeBron James out of the sport and they don't want Jerry Jones out of the sport. Jerry Jones needs to go, and this happening year after year with them winning. Never, okay? Because I mentioned we have interns now. We're a big-time show now. We have interns. The last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl, the intern wasn't alive. He wasn't alive. He literally wasn't. I don't know if his parents knew each other the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl. And yet I got to deal with this time after time after time. Why? Can you put the schedule up again, please, for me, fellas, if you will? Put the schedule back up. Now, the Australia game, great, okay? The 49ers are a team that's been in a Super Bowl recently. The Rams are the betting favorite right now to win the Super Bowl if you want to go get your bet in early before the odds change. That game makes sense. I already said fine. If you want to put it on Sunday Night Football for the fourth time in 6 years and never be creative with the matchup, and to be honest with you, I'm more intrigued by that game because as an Eagles fan, I want to see what the Giants are going to look like. So I'm intrigued by that game. I can live with that game. And I have no issue other than the fact that I don't like Thursday Night Football and not a single fan asked for Thursday Night Football. I'm even okay with that Lions team that was that's been good recently, and the Bills have the second best odds to win the Super Bowl. I'm fine with that game opening a new stadium. But why Ravens, Cowboys in Rio? Why? Why? I understand the Ravens looking for a bounce-back year. Why the Cowboys? And why do we have to hear about Thanksgiving ahead of time? That game's about the Eagles. The Eagles are a far more intriguing team right now than the Cowboys. I'm just tired of this. I got to hear about rumors of them slowing things down because of that crap city, Pittsburgh. Oh, if Aaron Rodgers is there, we want to put their games in prime time. When was the last time you actually cared about the Steelers? They're starting to get some of that, okay? It's been a little while. Big Ben is not coming through that door. And beware if he does. He's not always nice when he comes through doors. But what are we going to do here with this Cowboys thing? Like, when does it stop? Like, what does it take? And this is why I got to root against Jerry Jones. I have to think that if he was to sell the team or just go away, are we going to do the same thing for Stephen Jones? Have you ever heard Stephen Jones speak? Yeah, me neither, because they don't let him near microphones because of Jerry. I am tired of this happening year after year after year after year. I don't want it anymore. I'm tired of the Cowboys always being front and center all the time when they never, ever, ever win. Ever win. Like, no one has a worse track record to them other than maybe the Jets. Other than maybe the Jets in the NFL have a worse track record of letting their fans down consistently. I guess the Giants are in there right now since MetLife opened. But they're right there, okay? Let's not act like Dallas is on this next tier, all right? In this next tier above it, okay? Yet they're treated that way. And I have to think it's because of Jerry Jones and how many Cowboys are in the media. So I want to ask you a question right now, and I'll tell you my answer. There's a lot of Cowboys in media right now, from the Troy Aikman, who I think does a great job, to Swagoo and all these other Cowboys all over. That's nationally and locally. It's one of the things that Jerry Jones, quote unquote, does well. He sets his players up for their life after football because he knows he's going to cut them and mistreat them at some point. So he tries to sort of take care of them. Would you sacrifice all the media Cowboys? So you lose Aikman. And we don't have a lot of good analysts out there right now if Aikman was to go. We lose all the Cowboys in the media. Would you be willing to lose all those Cowboys for them to be treated like everybody else? I have to say it, as much as I love Troy Aikman, and to me, he's the gold standard right now. People say he's not John Madden. Nobody is. I like him more than Collinsworth. I like him more than all the other analysts. Romo, I like him more than all of them. He's my top guy, Aikman, right now. He's my top guy. Would I sacrifice him and all the media Cowboys in order to have the Cowboys treated like the joke of a team that they are and have a bunch of games at Sunday 1 o'clock? I would. To get them off of my TV, I would sacrifice my enjoyment and, yes, even your enjoyment of games. Because trust me, if you get rid of Aikman, whoever they replace him with is not going to be as good. I'd still sign up for it for them to be treated like they are and to have their fans go away. That's how serious I'm about them. I want all the media Cowboys gone if it means getting rid of them as well, because it's just too much of it. Just too much of it. And when does it stop? Like, how many years do they have to go not winning before we catch on? Because usually, like the 49ers, when I was a kid, the 49ers were better. They were much better than the Cowboys were and won more often. And even when the Cowboys won in, 93, the 49ers won the next year, then they get Deion Sanders and win their last one. So they've won a Super Bowl roughly the same amount of time. Yet they're treated like they're 100 times better than the 49ers. Joe Montana and Jerry Rice never even happened. How does this Cowboys legacy thing that goes back to Aikman and Irvin and Deion, who now is a not-so-good college coach in Colorado, unfortunately, right now. Deion's son's in the NFL. Since the Cowboys last won, all this has happened. Deion made a quarterback. The quarterback was born, grew up, went to college, and got drafted into the NFL since the Cowboys last won, and they're still being treated like they matter. Enough is enough with this Cowboy stuff. When does it finally end? And the fact that as we're getting dribs and drabs of the schedule, we know about 5 games, and the Cowboys are 60% of them. Stop. Like, I'm just tired of it. I can't take it anymore. It's under my skin. I can't do it anymore. The only thing that makes me madder than the Cowboys right now are Knicks fans. And on the other side, I'll explain to you why the Knicks aren't going to win anything and how they all need to be taken to task. Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson. Craig will be back tomorrow, and I'll get to the Knicks team in just a moment, but I'm annoyed. I'm a Sixers fan, and I'm annoyed. But I'm not a hater. I want to make it clear. I'm just annoyed, okay? I'm not a hater. This Knicks thing is starting to get on my nerves already because the Knicks have decided to act like they've won something. Not the players, the fans. Whether it's Ethan, the producer downstairs, everybody up in this New York City acting like they've already won something when y'all know it's been over 50 years. Most of y'all were not alive. Okay, 99% of this audience was not alive the last time the Knicks won anything, okay? And yes, the Sixers has been a long time, but the Knicks, it's been longer. You're going back to 1973. And also, I'll say this out loud because you got to hear it. Willis Reed's overrated. The moment's overrated, and Mr. Frazier, who I respect, he deserves the credit for that game, not Willis Reed. I'll say that. But here's the real reason I'm annoyed. Even more than you guys acting like you're somebody, acting like you did something, or anything like that. This is why I'm annoyed with Knicks fans. It's something they did in Philadelphia this past Friday for Game 3. Now, for those of you that didn't know, and I'm not going to knock you if you didn't know, Nick Nurse had been coaching with a heavy heart because his brother passed away before the Sixers faced the Celtics in that Game 6 when they came back from 3-1 series that set up the matchup with the Knicks that the Knicks won in a dominating sweep. So I'm giving you credit for the basketball part. Well, Game 3 was the first time Nick Nurse had been home for a game since the world knew that he had lost his brother because he kept it secret and he kept it close to the vest. So before the game, the Sixers decided to give a moment of silence for Nick Nurse's brother, which is the right thing to do under the circumstance and something that's much bigger than basketball and Knicks fans who have home training should respect. They did the moment of silence, and instead, Knicks fans cheered the entire time and did have no moment of silence. And you want to know why they did that? Because Knicks fans are jerks, okay? Knicks fans are jerks. Knicks fans are bad people, okay? To not care about somebody's brother passing away, it speaks to character. And it doesn't just, it reveals character. It shows what you guys are really all about. Why would you do something like that? And I think that they deserve to, it comes back to you when you act like that, okay? So we took over Philadelphia. You didn't take over anything. You can't take over something if somebody gives it to you. I bet you that's how y'all talk when y'all go out with a girl. I took her over. She said yes. What do you mean you didn't take anything? You didn't take anything. They gave you those seats. Knicks fans have done nothing. Well, I'm going to give you guys what you need right now. I'm going to say this right now because whether it's Stephen A. Smith, Nasty, Craig Carton just on this show yesterday, and fans all over the country think, oh, the Knicks are going to win a championship. I'm going to say this out loud right now, Knicks fans. The Knicks are the fourth best team left in the playoffs. The fourth best team left in the playoffs. Fourth best team. And you could be the fifth best team depending on what the Pistons do. But I feel very comfortable right now, and I'll say it right now, that the Thunder, the Spurs, and the Cavaliers are all better than the New York Knicks. You are at best the fourth team left in the playoffs, and you're not going to win a championship. I recognize you've been on a magic carpet ride where you haven't missed a shot in the better part of a week. And I can't imagine what that might feel like to never miss a shot. But that's not going to last forever. Okay, you're going to miss shots. I'm hearing some special things about OG's hamstring. You saw how that hard fall that Cat had. Physically and mentally, the Knicks are not going to be able to get it done the way they have so far, and they're going to come up short just like they have every year the last 53 years because you're not the second best team. You're not the third best team. You're the fourth best team at best. Therefore, you know what's going to happen. You better hope that this Cavaliers-Pistons series goes to 7. But even if it does, I got the Cavs beating y'all in 7, so it won't matter. I got the Pistons beating y'all, your fifth best team. Fifth best team. And if you think you can beat the Spurs, you can't. If you think you can beat the 8-0 Thunder, you can't. This season, Knicks fans, is going to end just like you all deserve after your disgusting and deplorable behavior this past Friday. It's going to end with you crying because you don't have enough respect and you're going to be crying. And don't go trying to get violent again like you did with your own homegrown J.R. Smith, a kid who grew up a Knicks fan. He goes outside to try to talk to you guys, and you damn near stampeded him to death. I'm just glad he's still alive around you bloodthirsty ghouls. But what you did on Friday, don't matter. It's all going to come back to you, okay, Knicks fans? All of you are going to get it. You're the fourth best team yet back in these playoffs. You're the fourth best team. So you're sitting there, oh, we're resting. We're going to get all this rest. What you're going to get is all this rust, okay? All this rust. And then when you lose, I just want you to come on and join me as Sixers fans, apologize for your lack of humility, and then come on over to the dark side, because you know that's what's going to happen. You know that's what's going to happen, okay? Why is this year different? Think about it, Knicks fans. Think about the other times you thought it was your year. I don't know, like last year when you thought it was your year. You were rolling along. And then you got to play the Pacers. And Tyrese Halliburton opened a can of whoop-ass on y'all that it took you 6 months. You fired the coach. You really imploded everything. Why isn't that going to happen again? Have you guys forgotten about Patrick Ewing? Have you guys forgotten about John Starks? Have you forgotten about Melo, Amari Stoudemire? Huh? What you think people are born yesterday? You think these are newbies like Ben Stiller, brand new fans? No, these are real basketball people. I'm talking real basketball. Knicks fans, what makes you think this year is going to be any different? You know you're not accustomed to winning. Where do you have the gall to get this kind of swag from, this unearned swag? You haven't won anything. You haven't won anything in over 50 years. You're talking about 2 generations. Heck, with black people and high blood pressure and hypertension, the same thing. It might be 3 generations. You guys aren't used to any winning. Like, why don't you cut it out? Okay, this is going to end for the Knicks like it always has. You're not making the finals, and if by some lucky miracle you do, you're going to get swept by the Thunder or the Spurs in the finals. This season's going to end like so many, okay? The Sprewell years, the Marcus Camby years, they're all in the same. One team doesn't lose their final game, and the Knicks are not going to be one of them. The Knicks will lose their final game just like they have for the last 50-plus years. And again, you will rue, all of you, and you will rue the day that you didn't respect Nick Nurse's brother with that moment of silence. You guys stink. I can't stand you, and you're losing in a week.
Over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There is a pick tonight that Gabe has that, to some degree, I find completely outrageous. Then I looked at it a second longer, and it might be a really smart angle.
I like to test them a little bit. I like to test them a little bit.
I like that a lot.
Oh, you don't know? You don't know this team name? You should. You're in the sports business.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? Nobody, but nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. And by the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News reported this morning that's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
Welcome back to the Craig Carton Show. I'm Tyrone Johnson. Craig will be back tomorrow, wrapping up another show. I end up in this tough spot where I never want to make the audience necessarily uncomfortable, but Lane Kiffin, he makes it difficult. Let me get this straight. Lane Kiffin, the LSU coach, had a big article in Vanity Fair, so this is an opportunity for him to kind of, expand himself beyond the SEC and things. And he talks about his decision to abandon all his players and only think of himself when they made the playoff and leave Ole Miss to go to LSU. And as you can see on the screen, he says, in explaining his decision to leave Ole Miss for LSU, Lane Kiffin seems willing to evoke Ole Miss' struggle to distance itself from symbols like the Confederate flag, Colonel Rebel, and the name Ole Miss itself. When he's coaching there, Kiffin says top recruits would tell him, hey, coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi. But that doesn't come up in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Parents were sitting here this weekend saying this campus's diversity feels so great, it feels like there's no segregation. Number one, okay, there's a lot to unpack there in a short amount of time. Lane Kiffin is a liar. I feel very comfortable saying that. In my opinion, I guess for libel reasons, Lane Kiffin is a liar. I'm to believe that someone came to him out loud and said, man, hey, coach, we really like you, but my grandparents aren't letting me move to Oxford, Mississippi. But when you were at Ole Miss, when a player went to LSU, it wasn't because LSU's LSU and Ole Miss is Ole Miss. It was because of the segregation, because Lord knows Louisiana has none. I'm to really believe that, and I'm really to believe that someone said out loud to him, quote, it feels like there's no segregation. So Lane, stop lying. Stop lying. Lane Kiffin cares about one person on earth, and that's Lane Kiffin. The next time Lane Kiffin thinks about somebody other than Lane Kiffin will be the first time. Just tell the truth, Lane. You left for money, and you left because you talked to Nick Saban, and he told you that the LSU job is a better job than Ole Miss. And pre-NIL and pre the playoff system, it always, every year for 100 years, has been the better job. Just say that. You now have people arguing about racism. No. We're not as racist as them. Oh, yeah, this is more welcoming than there. You have people now. You have now pitted Caucasian people all over the South against one another, all because you individually are a selfish jerk. You had a team in the playoff. They invested more money in your program than any other coach in the school's history, and to your credit, you won with them. But you left because you wanted to invoke racism as a white person, to try to make yourself look good over a decision that you made is bullcrap. It's a garbage move. It's a trash move, Lane. You don't care. You took that Ole Miss job knowing about all that racism, but now you care about it, Lane. Shut up. Why do you have to pee on people constantly and then tell them that it's raining? Why does he have to act this way? Lane Kiffin has to stop it. I'm personally offended by it. We know the South's history, all right? And if you don't want to talk about the South's history, by the way, I understand. And the only reason I'm bringing it up is because he brought it up. But you can't go to a school and win and coach and recruit at the level you did under the Confederate flag and all those things and then claim you left the job because of that. Because you know what, somebody who cares about racism and the Confederate flag and all that, you know what they would do? They wouldn't take that job because they could get another one. Lane was in demand. Ole Miss, you did better than you've done anywhere else. You actually made the playoff. You didn't coach in it, but you actually made the playoff. But you abandoned those kids, not because of racism. You didn't think about limitations in your recruiting when you were there. You left for one reason, Lane. You left because you thought the other job was better for you. Stop acting like you care about other people. You don't. And I find it disgusting that you use racism in that way to try to cover up for your decision. There is any time someone wants to, maybe not on this platform, wants to have a real, intelligent, nuanced conversation about the history of racism and how that history still leads to today and the things and the decisions that are made today, I'm all for it. But to use it in this way is disgusting. It's flat out disgusting, Lane, and you should know better, okay? No one believes you. You took the LSU job because it was a better job, period. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that as long as you're honest about it. All of us want a better job. So just cut it out, Lane. Listen, thanks so much, everybody, for listening today, watching today. We really, really appreciate it. Craig will be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Go over the summer where there's drastic changes and gas drops down to $3 a gallon, $2.50 a gallon in some states, and then you have some of the price markets go down. You ride that momentum is what Joe's talking about. So if you say right now, which party will win the U.S. House, and you think it's the Republicans currently trading at 20%, you take them now, and if good press comes, that turns into 25% and 30%, then you have the option to cash out.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
There is a pick tonight that Gabe has that, to some degree, I find completely outrageous. Then I looked at it a second longer, and it might be a really smart angle.
I like to test them a little bit.
I like that.
To test them a little bit.
I like that a lot.
Oh, yeah, come on, you don't know? You don't know this team name? You should. You're in the sports business.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
Number one, who asked for this? Nobody, but nobody asked for a bump up in the number of teams in both the men and the women's basketball tournament from 68, including the 4 play-in teams, to 76. By the way, it looks like it is a near-done deal. ESPN and ABC News reported this morning that it's very close to being done. It could be announced by the end of this week.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.